Once considered a technology guru, but tonight John Donovan Sr. is convicted of staging his own shooting and blaming it on his own son.
Courtrooms are meant for serious matters, but sometimes things take a turn for the absurd. From bizarre rulings to courtroom meltdowns, these outrageous moments will leave you speechless.
Well, Shannon, in this 15-page court document, Carpio asked the court to vacate his conviction and grant him a new trial.
Lawyers, judges, and even defendants have all played a part in some of the strangest legal cases ever caught on record.
You just gave him 4 years. Well, guess what? Sir,
when you have a child, that child becomes your life. This case is about the clash between that responsibility and the life that Casey Anthony wanted to have.
The 2011 trial of Casey Anthony gripped the nation like a true crime thriller playing out in real life. Accused of being responsible for her 2-year-old daughter Kaylee's fate, she became the center of a case filled with shocking twists, suspicious behavior, and emotional courtroom drama. The prosecution painted her as deceptive.
Is Casey Anthony a legal expert?
No. Now, she is an expert liar. She is one of the most accomplished liars that I've ever seen.
While the defense argued that Kaylee's passing was a tragic accident. When the verdict was read, acquittal on the most serious charges. Outrage erupted across the country. The public had already made up its mind, and many were furious at what they saw as a failure of justice. Even today, the case remains one of the most controversial courtroom decisions in modern history.
As to the charge of first-degree murder, verdict as to count 1. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty.
Too hot to handle.
In Albuquerque, New Mexico, an elderly woman was severely burned when she spilled a cup of McDonald's coffee in her lap.
In 1992, a simple cup of McDonald's coffee turned into one of the most famous lawsuits in history. Stella Liebeck, a 79-year-old woman, accidentally spilled a cup of McDonald's coffee on her lap, leading to serious burns.
All I remember is trying to get out of the car. I screamed, not realizing I was burned that bad. I knew I was in terrible pain.
But here's what many people don't know. The coffee wasn't just hot, it was dangerously hot. Heated to nearly 190 Fahrenheit or 88 Celsius, far beyond what's considered safe. Liebeck needed extensive medical treatment, and when she asked McDonald's to help cover her bills, they refused. So, she took them to court. The jury sided with her, awarding $2.7 million in punitive damages.
I was not in it for the money. I was in it because I wanted to bring the temperature down so that other people will not go through the same thing I did.
It's his right.
To the index and the burglar suing the homeowner who shot him. A thief trying to break into a house in Dunkirk, Indiana 2 years ago. The owner shooting him in the arm as he ran away. The homeowner then sentenced to jail for being reckless.
Talk about bad luck, and worse, logic. In 1997, a burglar broke into a home, likely expecting to walk away with stolen goods. Instead, he walked away with a bullet wound. The homeowner, understandably defending his property, shot the intruder. But here's where things take a ridiculous turn. The burglar turned around and sued the homeowner for excessive force. That's right, the guy breaking the law claimed he was the real victim. Incredibly, the case made it to court, proving that some people will do anything for a payday, even if it means suing the person they just tried to rob.
I was elated. My heart, everything. I feel it now, you know. I feel like this is a new beginning. You know, it is.
Twinkie defense.
And then he started kind of smirking because he knew I was going to be reported. And he just kind of smirked at me as if to say, too bad. And then I just got all flushed and hot and I shot him.
In 1979, Dan White's legal team made a shocking argument. His excessive consumption of junk food, including Twinkies, contributed to his mental state during the crime. This unusual defense played a role in reducing his charges from a more serious offense to manslaughter. The case sparked outrage, with many believing justice wasn't served. While the Twinkie defense didn't claim the snack directly caused the crime, it became a notorious example of how courtroom strategies can twist expectations. To this day, the phrase is used to mock bizarre legal defenses.
Mayor Moscone and Supervisor Harvey Milk have been shot And oh, Jesus Christ! The suspect is Supervisor Dan White.
Cleaning him dry.
Exceedingly confident that we're going to prevail at trial. When the pants were a part of his claim, we absolutely knew that we had his pants ready for him and that we hadn't in fact lost his pants. And with respect to the signage issues, we absolutely know that these signs would not be misleading to him.
In 2005, Washington, D.C. Judge Roy Pearson took legal action against a small dry cleaning business over a missing pair of pants. But this wasn't just any lawsuit. Pearson demanded a jaw-dropping $54 million in damages, claiming the shop's satisfaction guaranteed sign was misleading. For years, Pearson relentlessly pursued the case, dragging the owners through legal hell. The courtroom saw everything from tearful testimonies to absurd mathematical breakdowns of emotional distress. But in the end, the judge overseeing the case had enough. Pearson lost, and the dry cleaners walked away victorious. His obsession with one missing pair of pants cost him his job and his reputation.
It's a waste of something. It's a waste of good sense, for one thing.
Runaway bride.
And the decision on whether or not to file criminal charges against the so-called runaway bride. Tonight, the man who was to marry Jennifer Wilbanks says they will try it again. But many in her town aren't so quick to forgive. Here is NBC's Kerry Sanders.
In 2005, Jennifer Wilbanks sent an entire town into chaos when she vanished just days before her wedding. Her fiancé, family, and police launched a desperate search, fearing the worst. But days later, Wilbanks resurfaced, 600 miles away in New Mexico, with a wild story of being kidnapped by a masked couple. The truth? She made it all up. Wilbanks had fled town on her own, overwhelmed by wedding jitters. When the truth unraveled, the media had a field day. She faced criminal charges, was ordered to pay back the cost of the search, and became infamous as the runaway bride.
The person that did this to you was a real thief. It was an aesthetic man and a Caucasian woman.
Fridge gone wrong. No one expects a kitchen appliance to turn into a hazard, but in 2009, one fridge took things to a whole new level. A tenant met a tragic fate when a refrigerator toppled over, leading to a major lawsuit against the landlord. The case shook the courtroom as the details unfolded. Was it negligence, faulty installation, or just an unpredictable accident? In the end, the landlord had to pay up, settling the case with a hefty sum. This bizarre incident serves as a chilling reminder that even the most ordinary household items can be more dangerous than they seem. Sin and Sinner. In 1979, a courtroom turned into a spectacle when Ted Bundy decided to represent himself. Instead of relying on a defense team, he acted as his own attorney, cross-examining witnesses and trying to manipulate the courtroom with his charm. The trial, broadcast nationwide, had millions watching as he treated it like a stage performance. Bundy even proposed to a witness on the stand, adding to the circus-like atmosphere. Despite his confidence, the evidence was overwhelming. Bite marks, eyewitness accounts, and his escape attempts all sealed his fate. His self-representation wasn't a genius move. It was a disaster. After a lengthy trial, he was sentenced accordingly, proving that no amount of theatrics could erase the truth.
Yes, I intend to complete my legal education and become a lawyer and be a damn good lawyer.
Master plan.
Once considered a technology guru, but tonight John Donovan Sr. is convicted of staging his own shooting and blaming it on his own son.
In 2007, MIT professor John J. Donovan pulled a stunt straight out of a crime novel, except it didn't go as planned. Caught in a heated feud with his family, Donovan staged his own shooting, hoping to frame his relatives, but his scheme unraveled fast.
As
we dug further, we began to believe that the story had been fabricated, and that is the basis of the allegation.
Surveillance footage revealed him adjusting security cameras days before the so-called attack, a move that raised red flags. Investigators pieced the story together, and the professor's credibility crumbled. Instead of getting sympathy, he got a guilty verdict. A man known for his intelligence had outsmarted himself, proving that even the sharpest minds can make the dullest mistakes.
Reaction to the verdict?
I'm disappointed when it will
Anything to say
appeal.
to your children? Do you want to put this behind you?
Yes, I'd like to put it behind us.
Divine legal defense.
And who's representing you today?
I'm represented by Jesus Christ.
It was in 2019 when a Kentucky courtroom turned chaotic as a woman confidently declared that her attorney was none other than Jesus Christ. Court officials weren't exactly prepared for that kind of legal representation, and things quickly spiraled. As the judge attempted to proceed, tensions escalated, and the woman ended up in a full-blown altercation with bailiffs. The entire bizarre scene was caught on courtroom cameras, and once the footage hit the internet, it spread like wildfire. Legal experts were left speechless, and viewers couldn't believe what they were watching. While divine intervention may work in some cases, it turns out the justice system still requires a licensed attorney. Legal briefs gone.
Mr. Brooks, you're interrupting me yet again. All right, Mr. Brooks, you are now going to be removed to the other courtroom. I have had a dozen or more interruptions. We'll be off the record while we do that. Thank you, everyone.
I don't agree to a stop. Will I move for a motion at this meeting?
Courtrooms are meant for arguments, not wardrobe malfunctions. But in 2010, one Florida defendant had other plans. Right in the middle of proceedings, he stripped down, claiming it was his constitutional right. The judge, the jury, and even the bailiffs weren't ready for that kind of legal defense. Security moved in fast, while the courtroom collectively tried to unsee what just happened. The entire bizarre moment was caught on camera and, of course, went viral. Legal experts didn't need much time to decide. Turns out, the Constitution doesn't grant a right to streak during trial. Instead of proving a legal point, the only thing he proved was that courtroom dress codes exist for a reason. Shocking confession.
Banishevsky's request for an early parole from prison outraged victims' rights groups throughout the community, who said she should never have a second chance.
Few moments in courtroom history are as shocking as what unfolded in 1965 during the trial for Sylvia Lakens. 11-year-old Marie Banishevsky took the stand as a defense witness, expected to support those accused. But instead of protecting them, she did the unthinkable. She confessed. In front of a stunned courtroom, Marie admitted to her own involvement in Sylvia's mistreatment. Her sudden confession dismantled the defense's case, handing the prosecution a key witness they never expected. The trial, already one of the most disturbing in Indiana's history, became even more infamous with this chilling revelation. What was meant to be a strategy to shield the accused turned into an irreversible turning point that sealed their fate.
I can't do it, and I'm sorry. That's all I can say. And I ask him to forgive me. That's all I can tell you.
Monkey selfie battle.
In today's big board, a battle in court like we have never seen before. It's over selfies taken by a monkey. His name is Naruto. The photos went viral after he snapped them with a nature photographer's camera.
In 2011, a curious macaque in Indonesia swiped a photographer's camera and did what any modern influencer would: snapped a series of ridiculous selfies. Grinning, wide-eyed, and looking straight into the lens, the monkey became an overnight sensation. But then came the bizarre legal battle. The photographer, David Slater, claimed ownership of the images, while animal rights activists argued that the monkey, yes, the actual monkey, held the copyright. Courts eventually ruled that non-humans can't hold copyrights, but the internet had already chosen its side. The real winner? The monkey, who became a global celebrity without lifting a finger, except to press the shutter.
It makes no sense to allow a monkey to enforce a copyright suit, but if you're going to do that, it's equally absurd to deny a monkey written notice.
Naruto wouldn't need written notice. Maybe the other macaque monkeys in Indonesia would.
No, that's precisely right, Your Honor.
Say no more. In 2005, Esteban Carpio was brought in for questioning at the Providence Police Department regarding an incident. While in custody, he attempted to escape, leading to a serious situation. He was quickly caught after jumping from a window, but his appearance at his court hearing shocked many. His face was visibly swollen, sparking debates about what had happened during his capture. Officials stated that his injuries came from efforts to restrain him. Carpio was later found guilty in court and received a life sentence. His case remains widely discussed, not just for the events that took place, but also for the controversy surrounding his arrest and trial.
Well, Shannon, in this 15-page court document, Carpio asked the court to vacate his conviction and grant him a new trial.
Up the alley.
A Winter Haven man is suing Dunkin' Donuts for negligence. He says he was injured when a toilet exploded. Paul Kerouac is seeking more than $50,000 now. He says in January 2022, the toilet exploded, leaving him covered in filth. He claims employees knew that there was a problem and only told him after.
Paul Kerouac walked into a Dunkin' restroom in Winter Park, Florida, expecting a normal visit. What happened next was anything but. According to his lawsuit, the toilet suddenly exploded, covering him in waste and debris, leaving him traumatized, and of course, not in the best physical condition either. Even worse, employees allegedly admitted they knew the toilet had been a problem before. Now, Kerouac is seeking over $100,000, claiming long-term injuries and the need for mental health care after the incident. Dunkin' hasn't commented yet, but one thing's clear. This is not the kind of blast anyone wants with their coffee. No powers. The psychic who didn't see it coming. In 2005, a self-proclaimed psychic, Judith Richardson Hames, took her doctor to court, claiming his CT scan had zapped away her supernatural abilities. Apparently, the machine's radiation didn't just reveal medical insights, it allegedly erased her otherworldly powers. The irony, if she really had psychic abilities, you'd think she would have seen this coming. The lawsuit didn't hold up, and the judge dismissed it faster than a disappearing act. Whether the scan actually did anything to her powers remains unknown, but one thing's for sure, this case left the legal world shaking their heads in disbelief. Where's my kidney? Some divorces end in arguments over houses and money. This one involved a missing kidney. A man took his ex-wife to court, claiming she had stolen and sold one of his kidneys during a past surgery without his consent. He insisted it wasn't just a messy breakup, but a full-blown crime. The bizarre lawsuit caught national attention, leaving people wondering how something like this could even happen. Legal experts debated whether he had a case, but the sheer absurdity of it made headlines. Whether the story was fueled by revenge or shocking truth, it remains one of the strangest courtroom battles ever filed. If nothing else, it's a reminder to always double-check who's handling your medical procedures, especially after a rough divorce. Happy Fat Meal. McDonald's found itself in hot water when two teenagers took the fast food giant to court, claiming its burgers and fries had made them gain weight. Their argument? The company failed to warn them about the health risks of eating Big Macs and supersized meals. They wanted McDonald's to take responsibility for their size, but the court wasn't having it. The case was dismissed, but it triggered a nationwide conversation about fast food, personal responsibility, and corporate influence on public health. While McDonald's walked away unscathed, the lawsuit paved the way for menu changes, calorie counts, and a new wave of awareness about what people were really eating. In the end, the case didn't change the law, but it definitely changed the way people looked at fast food. Wedding on wheels.
And when you last saw me a decade ago, I was in an intimate relationship with my car chase.
In 2016, one man took relationship goals to a whole new level by trying to marry his car. He filed a legal petition claiming he had a deep emotional bond with his vehicle and wanted the court to recognize their union. Unsurprisingly, the judge wasn't moved by his heartfelt plea, and the case was swiftly dismissed. But not before the media caught wind of it, turning his unusual love story into a headline sensation. While the law didn't approve the marriage, one thing was clear. This guy's commitment to his car ran deeper than just regular maintenance and oil changes.
Morning, baby. We're a handsome man.
Self versus self. A Kentucky man taking himself to court after a boomerang hit him in the head? That's the kind of story that practically writes itself. According to a widely shared tale, Larry Ruttman of Owensboro allegedly filed a lawsuit against himself and somehow walked away with $300,000 without spending a dime. His insurance company supposedly paid out the claim, making it one of the most baffling legal wins ever. The case gained attention, amusing readers and confusing legal experts alike. But here's the catch: it never actually happened. The story first appeared in Weekly World News, a publication known for crafting wild, fictional stories. Court records show no lawsuit was ever filed. While the tale is pure fiction, one thing's certain: boomerangs aren't the only things that come back around. Man versus God.
Tell me, I understand you're suing
God.
And why are you suing him?
To get a permanent injunction.
In 2008, Nebraska State Senator Ernie Chambers decided to take legal action against, well, God. Frustrated by natural disasters and suffering in the world, he filed a lawsuit demanding a permanent injunction against harmful acts of God. The courtroom was left in an impossible situation. How do you serve legal papers to someone who technically has no known address? The judge eventually dismissed the case, citing the obvious problem: they couldn't notify the defendant. Chambers later admitted the lawsuit was more symbolic than serious, meant to challenge legal loopholes. While he didn't win, he definitely made his point. Sometimes, even the highest powers can't escape legal paperwork.
I've tried to make people understand that not every wrong has a remedy in court.
Courtroom proposal.
An East Texas couple says that choice was taken away from them after a Smith County judge in a misdemeanor criminal case ordered the man to marry his 19-year-old girlfriend within 30 days or face jail time.
In 2015, a Texas judge handed down a sentence that sounded more like a rom-com plot than a legal ruling. After a young man got into a fight with his girlfriend's ex, he expected the usual probation terms. Instead, the judge gave him a choice: marry his girlfriend within 30 days or face jail time. The bizarre ruling sparked outrage, with legal experts questioning whether a judge could legally force someone into marriage. Many saw it as a clear case of judicial overreach, while others were just baffled by the punishment. In the end, the man went through with the wedding, but the controversy still stayed, because nothing says happily ever after like a court-ordered marriage.
I said, well, to be honest, sir, I was raised with 4 sisters, and if any man was talking to a woman like that, I would probably do the same thing.
Court drama.
Your Honor, excuse me for a second. I need some time.
I'm gonna take a break.
Talk about a plot twist. In 2013, a defendant decided to pull off a drama-filled twist during his trial, faking a seizure to gain sympathy and stall the proceedings. But here's the kicker: courtroom cameras caught the whole act, and medical pros saw right through the charade. It was like watching a bad actor in a B-movie, and the audience, the judge, and jury weren't buying it. The defendant's plan backfired spectacularly, proving that when it comes to faking it, some people just don't have the skills. Talk about a failed audition for the ultimate courtroom drama.
Does he appear to be doing anything to you other than sitting in that chair? Oh, a remarkable change.
Courtroom crooner.
Your Honor, I wanna say I'm sorry for the things I've done.
In a bizarre 2014 courtroom moment, a defendant ditched the traditional plea and broke into song during his sentencing. This impromptu performance, caught on camera and widely shared online, left everyone wondering, was it a heartfelt attempt to sway the judge or a bold defiance of courtroom norms? The legal implications were significant, as such behavior could be seen as contempt of court. Psychologically, it was a fascinating move, possibly a coping mechanism or a deliberate disruption. The audience was likely stunned, and the court had to decide how to handle this unconventional display. Did it affect his sentence? Definitely.
The victim, I'm sorry, 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 sorry.
Disgusting delivery.
One suspect's mother called her daughter's actions a stupid mistake and said, hopefully she learned a lesson.
2 Domino's Pizza employees thought it would be hilarious to film themselves violating every health code imaginable. They recorded themselves sneezing on sandwiches, stuffing cheese up their noses, and doing things to pizza that no one wants to think about. Then, in a move that proves criminals aren't always masterminds, they posted the footage online. The internet exploded in outrage, and authorities wasted no time tracking them down. Both were arrested, and Domino's launched serious damage control, assuring customers their food was safe.
According to the recommendations, which has been followed, and we have overseen the sanitation process, the facility is ready to be reopened.
The prank cost them their jobs, their reputations, and probably any chance of ever working around food again. Because if there's one thing people don't want with their pizza, it's an extra side of gross.
2 were on the job at Domino's in Conover. Both turned themselves in tonight. They're charged with tampering with food.
Legally haunted? A couple thought they had found their dream home, but that dream turned into a paranormal nightmare. After moving in, they discovered eerie stories surrounding the house, strange noises, ghostly figures, and a chilling past. Furious that the previous owners never mentioned this, they took them to court. The lawsuit argued that a haunted reputation could lower property value, and surprisingly, the court agreed. The judge ruled that the house was at least legally haunted. The case set a bizarre legal precedent, proving that when buying a home, it's not just about location, it's about who or what might already be living there. Ballot box scandal.
Report about the ballot stuffing scandal of 2023.
Back in 2023, Bridgeport, Connecticut found itself at the center of an election scandal that looked straight out of a political thriller. Surveillance footage caught multiple operatives stuffing absentee ballots into collection boxes, an illegal move that sent shockwaves through the city. The evidence was undeniable, leading to a court battle that resulted in an unprecedented decision, a rerun of both the mayoral primary and general elections. The case reignited debates over election security and voter integrity, with critics calling it a blatant attempt to manipulate results. In the end, the scandal proved one thing. If you're going to tamper with ballots, don't do it on camera.
5 people now under arrest, accused of misusing absentee ballots during the mayoral primary in Bridgeport.
Soul searching. In a scene that could have been plucked straight from a dramatic TV show, a man decided to express his discontent in the most unconventional way imaginable by hurling his shoe at the judge during a 2009 sentencing hearing. It was a moment of pure, unfiltered audacity, captured for posterity by the courtroom cameras. But let's be real, if you're going to throw something at someone in a courtroom, you'd better be ready for the consequences. And boy, were there consequences. This impromptu shoe-throwing act not only failed to sway the judge's decision, but also landed him in even hotter water with additional charges. Liar, liar, in court. Courtroom dramas are known for fiery arguments, but in 2017, one Florida defense attorney took it to a whole new level. His pants literally caught fire while passionately arguing that his client's car had spontaneously combusted and wasn't set on fire intentionally. His own trousers started smoking. Turns out, he had e-cigarette batteries in his pocket, and they overheated at the worst possible moment. The courtroom erupted in shock, and the irony wasn't lost on anyone. Media outlets had a field day with the story, comparing it to the old saying, "Liar, liar, pants on fire." While his client's case didn't exactly go up in smoke, the lawyer's credibility certainly took a hit. Internet justice. In 2025, Sandra Drzucek, the mother of Shanann Watts, took a stand against online harassment and won. For years, YouTuber Alan Vinicum spread conspiracy theories about Shanann's tragic case, accusing her of things with no basis in reality. His content fueled relentless harassment against her grieving family, turning their pain into internet entertainment. But Drzucek fought back, taking him to court in a landmark defamation case. The verdict? Justice. She won, setting a major precedent for victims of online misinformation. The case sent a clear message. Spreading lies for clicks and clout isn't just unethical, it can be very expensive. Vinicum learned the hard way that internet fame doesn't make you untouchable. especially when real lives are at stake. Awkward admission. Depositions are usually full of legal jargon, but one attorney in a high-stakes case decided to overshare in the worst way possible. In the middle of questioning, he casually declared on record that he had taken Viagra the night before and had been dealing with the effects since 2 a.m. Then, as if that wasn't enough, he added that if things didn't settle soon, he'd need to leave and call his doctor. The room fell into stunned silence, and, shockingly, the deposition was cut short. Whether it was strategy, an unfortunate slip, or just way too much information, one thing's for sure: no one in that room will ever forget that moment. Gym ghost. In 2008, an all-night gym in Kansas became the center of a viral paranormal mystery. Surveillance footage showed a glowing, blurry figure floating over weight benches and cardio machines, like a very dedicated spirit getting in a midnight workout. The internet went wild, with ghost hunters claiming it was proof of the afterlife, but skepticism kicked in, and investigator Benjamin Radford took a closer look. His conclusion? Not a ghost, just a bug crawling on the camera lens. The eerie glow was nothing more than a tiny insect stealing the spotlight. While the gym didn't get a resident ghost, it did get a lot of free publicity. Judge's own verdict. Courtrooms demand order, but what happens when the judge is the one causing the disruption? During a trial, silence was shattered when the judge's own cell phone blared through the courtroom. Instead of brushing it off, he did something unexpected. He held himself in contempt. In front of everyone, he fined himself $25 for breaking his own rules. The moment left the courtroom stunned, but also a little amused. A judge enforcing the law on himself? That's a level of accountability rarely seen. It was a small but unforgettable lesson in justice, proving that sometimes even those in charge aren't above the law. Subscriber pick.
You just gave me 40 years, sir. Yes. You just gave me 40 years. Well, guess what? Sir,
and I must warn you, it's about to get a bit stinky. I'm not going to show someone pulling up a weapon in court. You've seen enough of that. But this one is one of a kind. A Miami courtroom turned chaotic when 33-year-old Dorleans Philidor caused an unexpected disturbance during his trial. As he sat in a wheelchair near Judge Lisa Walsh, he suddenly attempted to throw feces in her direction. Luckily, it didn't reach her. Court officials acted quickly, moving the trial while the room was thoroughly cleaned. This wasn't his first disruptive act. Just a day earlier, he had smeared feces on himself while in a holding cell, leading to delays. A doctor was assigned to evaluate his condition, but the trial proceeded. Despite the chaos, the jury acquitted him of burglary. He has multiple convictions and could go to prison for 15 years as a career criminal if he is convicted. It's unclear whether he'll face any charges involving the feces.